Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about trans women in biological women's spaces. The United Nations is facing a renewed call to ban transgender athletes from women's sports after a study revealed that nearly 900 medals have been lost to biological males. I didn't realize it was that much. So ladies, what do you think about biological male athletes who have transition into women dominating in the women's sports? I'll start with Cordelia. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was so much.
As advanced as we are as human beings, this is actually a shame. We should have known. Okay, I guess we're learning, so I'll forgive ourselves. We're learning about transgender people not feeling who they were born to be. Fine, I get it. So the statistics says it all. So what we need to do is in the statistics. If women are losing up to over 900 medals to transgender men, there's a clear indication that we may need to probably provide space for transgender people. So not to put them with men, not to put them with women. I don't know how we're going to do it. We just had to remix everything and know that now we're not just dealing with male and female, but we're also dealing with transgender people. Do we say transgender male? How we do it, we'll figure it out. But yes, I think we just need to create a space for them and not have them compete with women or men, because there are losing consequences either way.
Thank you, Sakina.
I think there's a lot in there. There's a lot. Like, are you saying they've taken it from women and given it to trans men or given it to trans women?
No, they haven't. So because the men, obviously, when men transition to women, men are known to have more.
So it's a man transition to being a women and then they game. But what about the other way around? Is it also done it in that way as well? Are they doing it? Yeah, women can trans and go into men's. I'm asking, have they done it in that direction as well? If they haven't, it's very biased.
I'm not aware.
Is what I'm trying to say. It's like, if you're going to do it for trans men who have transitioned from a man to a female, but you're not going to do it for women that have transitioned to men, there's that. But then I also do think then there should be a possibility that that's what I'm saying, there's a lot in it, because what I'm going to say is a bit wrong. But then there should be trans games, just like there's Paralympic games and there's different games. But then I'm also going to throw in the card of, then people will say then there should be race games. It's a whole new kettle of stuff. But similar to how in the prison sector, where they did find that some people were claiming that they were going to transition and they didn't, so that they can actually go into a different class of prison. There's different things, but again, they're not looking at the detail, because, and I'm not saying this with all due respect, but when there's a trend on something, on anything in this world, anything and everybody wants to be behind it, because it helps build that narrative and brings a stronger connection, brings much more bigger financing, brings much more bigger support, etc. So I think it shouldn't just be a surface level thing. It should be looked into properly, because it can't be biased. It needs to be totally unbiased. And if we're going to look at one, we also need to look at the other. That's what I'd say.
Thank you, Sakina. Kalisha, what's your opinion on that?
I feel that, just listening to everyone's opinions thus far, it is quite obvious that there is an unfair advantage that men who transition from male to female and then compete in sports that are specifically for biological women or cis women, as we're the term that we're using now. There's unfair advantage because men are stronger than women. It's not a hidden fact that they are. And I feel that if anyone has any form of unfair advantage, then that, in my opinion, is cheating. That's it, on paper. If you have an unfair advantage over other competitors, through whatever means, it's cheating. Many people have gotten medals stripped from them for using drugs that enhance their performance, to give them an unfair advantage over others. And I'm not saying that that is the same, but on paper, an unfair advantage is an unfair advantage. So I don't know how we can, or how they rather intend on tackling this, you know, whether they propose having separate games altogether, as Sakina and Cordelia have you know, suggested, or by any other means. But I think that there's definitely something not quite fair about all of this, and you know, it doesn't sit well. I can really think of the most recent, or the most prevalent example that comes to my mind of, I wouldn't even say that this person was transgender, but they were classified as biologically female. However, they have the appearance of male build in their body, and they tested high levels of testosterone. It was the boxer in the Olympics, and who won. And then you know, there have been a lot of protests about even that controversial win. So how, where do we go from here? These are, you know, these are questions that come to my mind. But yeah, I don't feel that it is necessarily fair or for cis women to compete against trans women in these sports.
Can I also add as well, I'm sorry, I forgot to, I admitted earlier, I completely forgot to add it in, is in regards to sporting, ever since I've been around and I've known sporting to be taking place in both the UK and America and Europe, there's always been a ban on specific levels of drugs that athletes are allowed to participate in, and if they are noticed with, or it's been tested that they have certain levels of certain drugs in their system, then they're banned. My question, I don't know, but my question is if a trans person has some is going through they're going through their cycle of being a transgender, and they're taking some sort of medication, does that come on the level, or does it not come on the level of drugs that should be banned through an athlete? That's my question, because there are different things, and I think it's wrong, like I said earlier, to penalize on one but not on the other. So it should go hand in hand.
I agree. I think that it's not fair. I think this, as you guys have mentioned already, I think there should be a separate sport. There should be a separate category for men who are trans, for because we know there are people who are born as intersex, where they have both male and female, and there's no clarity on the gender. So we know that there's some gray areas which we're not 100% on. So I think that if they have another sort of category of sports, then they can, you know, have them all together, and then women can compete against women and men against men and trans against trans. I think that's only fair. That's my opinion. Moving on that, what do you think about trans women in women's bathroom? Does that bother you as a woman? Anyone can start, or maybe Cordelia, if you want to, or if you have a child. For me, I feel I have 2 girls, and I don't think I'll be comfortable with a trans man in the bathroom with my kids. That's my opinion. Yeah, so I'd like to see what you think.
Can I just say as well, initially when this came up, I think it was about maybe 8 years or so, or probably longer ago, where they said that we're going to have mixed gender bathrooms in public spaces and mixed gender changing rooms as well. Initially, I was like, are you okay? But I must admit, I don't know many other places, but in the places that I have been across the UK, Europe, where I have seen that, it hasn't been as bad as I thought. The reason I say that is because they've adjusted in most places, and this is only where they've adjusted. Where they've adjusted the bathrooms, as it were, and it's not an open it's not an open bathroom that everybody just chooses. It's like there is a toilet. You go into it, you come out. You go into it and you come out. And there's a communal area where you wash your hands. Now, it makes it difficult for those who like to be outlandish and walk out and show themselves and do different stuff in that that open space. But in those bathroom spaces, they're not really big, they're quite small. They normally have 2 to 3 toilets in there, and then you've got an open shared washing area. As I said, initially I was like, are you okay? But going through them, because I'm a person that if I use the public toilet, because I try my best not to. If I have to use the public toilet, you see me go in, come out, wash my hands, and I'm out. I ain't got time for no interference with anybody else. So I have never felt uncomfortable when I have gone into those mixed, and I say inverted commas because sometimes they're mixed, sometimes they're not, bathrooms. So for me, it hasn't been a bane of contention as I thought it would be. Yeah.
I think that's a good point. But I think for me personally, I've had experience where I went to the bathroom and a trans man, you could see maybe it was an early phase of his transition. You could see it was the man, he had a wig on and everything. And he came into, and it made me super uncomfortable. And I couldn't, it wasn't a mixed bathroom, it was just a women's bathroom, and it meant there was no mixed. There's a disabled one in the middle, which probably that, or if you have kids, you know, with buggies, but this made me super uncomfortable. So I think if I had my kids or my daughters, I won't be comfortable. It doesn't mean I wouldn't accept it. It's just that it was just gonna bring that feeling of being uncomfortable. In those instances. Kalisha, what's your opinion on that? Trans women in women's bathroom.
I mean, we all have to go. You know, when nature calls, we all have to go. But it's really about, as you said, where are we going? You know, and again, I personally have never had a bad experience in a mixed gender toilet or unisex toilet, as they say, in particular at like concerts or at, you know, festivals, things like that. But I don't know how I would feel genuinely if I were to encounter someone, a transgender woman in a woman's toilet. If there were, you know, what I think what would make me uncomfortable is probably if I were to see someone with a beard, you know, as you said, like early stages of their transition journey, that would definitely make me uncomfortable if we are meant to be in a toilet that is for cis woman or woman on it, that says woman on it. But if they were, you know,
fully transitioned,
then I wouldn't feel uncomfortable with it, because I said, as when nature calls, we all have to go. But I think it's because maybe I'm not necessarily. I think what you focus on, you'll see.
True.
Some instances, you know. So if you are looking for the danger, you will see the danger, and obviously sometimes danger presents itself without you looking for it. But I think if you are able to just accept that this is a space that we're not necessarily living in, it's just a temporary visitation where it's, you know, just going into the cubicle, coming out, the only communal places where hands are being washed, then that would be acceptable to me. I wouldn't see a problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Adelia?
Yeah, I would want to go back to, why did we have separate toilets in the first place? You know, there must have been a reason why we have male and female cubicles. And I believe a lot of it stems back in a bit to protect people, to protect one's privacy. It's easier when you're in a room with another woman compared to another man. And if we go back to cases of rape, for example, cases of any kind of sexual abuse, men tend to be the perpetrators more than women. So as an adult, I don't have a problem sharing with anybody, although I might worry when you think about things like rape, because you never know who's watching you, following you, and you know, what's it called? And just like what we said before, yes, you can transition from a man to a woman, but certain feelings, do they really transition? I've had trans men ask me out. I had one follow me, literally. I had to take another route, completely transition in his heels and everything. He said he's in love with me. He wants to do this. He wants to worship the ground, all this kind of stuff. So that's a woman asking me out as a woman, a trans woman asking me out as a woman. You never know the person's intentions. So for children, I think we should think more. You know, children always need protection, always from adults. Unfortunately, it's the world that we live in. It's quite sad. But as an adult, I'd like to say, I think I'll be okay. I don't have a problem sharing with a man. At the end of the day, when I go into the cubicle, it's just me. The only place we'll share really is where we're washing hands. You wash your hands, I wash my hands. The other thing as well is hygiene. A lot of men pee standing
Obviously.
up as well. So you got to think about all that when we have the same toilets. But I think these are things, it's good we're having these discussions. That's part of it as humans. When we're faced with certain issues that are affecting us, that are helping to shape us, it's discussions like this that bring about the ideas of how we go about it, or at least, you know, so I'm glad we're at least talking about it, but maybe have 3 toilets. That's my answer to it. Maybe 4. Trans women, trans men, male, female, however we want to do it. But either way, life goes on. I don't think it's a do or die. Let's just protect the children and vulnerable people when we do make these decisions. And beyond that, life goes on. We learn, we live and we learn, right?